What's up, everybody? The Legend of W is back in NieR Replicant version 1.22474487139 in hard mode. So in the last video, we had to go ahead and save a prince. So if you haven't seen the last video, make sure to go ahead and check it out. Now, we're gonna go and check up on Yona. Since we're here already, let's do that. Well, I mean, that's what I was supposed to do anyway. Not like I have a whole bunch of side missions that I gotta take care of. But anyways, let's go ahead. 700 gold, thank you. And a defense drop. Very nice. Hey, Yona, you okay?
Yona?
You okay?
Oh, hey.
Hey.
How are you feeling?
Better, now that I'm taking the medicine you brought.
Nice.
Good.
By the way,
Yeah?
are you gonna stay here today?
Oh, so if I say sure, I guess we'll move on to the story, and I can't today. Okay, let's do it.
You bet.
Really? You'll stay with me?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, Yona. I'll stay.
Yeah. I'll stay.
Now get back to bed.
Yeah, get.
Okay.
Alright, cool. Oh, nighty night, once again. So I wonder what's gonna happen. I imagine that things will get worse. I hear a voice. I squint and see a boy standing before me. His hair is silver, his skin is pale, and he stares up at me with hard, glassy eyes. Soon his lips begin to move, but no sound comes out. What is he saying? I can't hear him. I can't hear him. I can't hear him. I can't hear him. I can't. I tried to leave, but something about the boy holds my gaze. I watch his face, expressionless, as his lips slowly flutter. What is he trying to say? Wait, it's a phrase. I can almost make it out. It starts with an S, then there's an E. I can almost see it now. The letters begin to fall together, one after the other, faster and faster. Sealed verse. Woo! It's a sealed verse! The thing I am looking for, the key to saving my sister. I stare at the boy with renewed ferocity, trying desperately to make out his next word. Dream. Dream. What the hell does that mean? The lips move again, faster now. I can't follow them. Damn it! I can't make it out! I want to scream. I want to tear the walls down around me. But instead, I force myself to be calm. I can do this. I can do it for Yona. Slowly, so slowly, ever so slowly, I parse out the letters that make up his final words. Forest of Myth. I guess that's where we gotta go next. We'll see the next morning. Okay, so is Yona here? Oh no, we're downstairs.
Just a dream.
It was just a
In
dream.
my dreams, I'm hunting sealed verses.
Oh yeah. Hey, there's Yona. Good morning. How are you?
Morning.
Morning, Yona.
What's wrong? Are you feeling sick too?
No, I had a strange dream.
Oh.
What was it about?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
'Cause I had a dream too.
They might have had the same
Oh,
dream.
yeah?
Yeah, me and this boy were playing a game together.
What kind of game?
It was called Guess the Words. I think he made it up because I never heard of it before.
How did it
okay.
work?
The boy would move his mouth, but no words would come out. Then I had to guess what he was trying to say.
Okay.
It was hard. I wanted to play hide and seek, but we had to play his dumb game instead.
So what did he say?
I don't know. All I could figure out was dream and Forest of Myth. But don't worry, I'm gonna study hard so that next time I can figure out everything.
Everything,
We
okay?
should play a game together sometime too.
Sure, Yona.
Sure, yeah, sure. Alright. I'll see you later. Anyways, so I guess we were going through Yona's perspective based off of that dream.
Something troubling you, lad?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Come on, I need to go ask Popola something.
Okay. I wonder what he's gonna ask her. Popola, please help.
What's up, Popola?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I just got a strange letter in the mail.
Dearest Popola, I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing in hopes of bringing to your attention a certain dream issue of concern regarding recent events in Dream the Village. I was hoping I might be Dream able to get your advice, Dream, on the matter. Recently, there have been dream reports, dream of a certain dream of dream, evil, dream, empty, dream, curse, dream, evil, dream, words, dream, and dream, someone, dream. Weird.
That is certainly one bizarre piece of writing.
Oh yeah.
Who's it from?
The mayor of a small village in the Forest of Myth. It's a wooded area up north.
Okay.
The Forest of Myth?
Uh-oh.
They're usually a bright and cheerful group of people. Something like this is very out of character for them. I have a bad feeling about this.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
You will? But,
Don't worry about it. I've got business there anyway.
Yeah.
oh, well, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. So, interesting stuff. I think we might find something very interesting in this Forest of Myths. Well, what do we have here? Wow. The Forest of Myth. It's beautiful. That's a big old tree there. Like the soundtrack, too.
It sure is quiet here.
Oh, yeah.
Such silence bodes ill. There's trouble on the way. I'm certain of it.
You know, a little optimism now and then wouldn't hurt, Vice.
Such cheek.
Such cheek, alright. Anyways, let's go ahead and save the game. Oh, look at that. Somebody's up front. Hello, sir.
Beware.
Okay.
Beware the words.
The words? What do you mean?
The words, what do they mean?
Contagious words.
Oh.
Those who dream.
Did this guy give us the message in the dream?
Those who dream?
Hold a moment. There is a strange new sensation in my mind.
Weiss's voice rose in a quizzical way.
It is not quizzical.
What's going on?
Huh? The villager's body shuddered as he slowly opened his eyes.
Perhaps we should start by asking this man.
Who are you?
Oh.
We heard something happened to this village, so we came to see if we could help.
Yeah. The mayor stared at Densetsu and Wise.
If you can speak to me, I must have caught you in my dream.
In your dream?
What? The mayor explained. In the past weeks, a mysterious disease called the Death Dream had spread across the Forest of Myth. Those who caught it were cursed to fall asleep and live forever within the world of their own dreams. The village mayor had determined the Death Dream was spread from person to person by spoken words. But before he could learn more, the disease took him as well. Wise stared at the mayor, his mouth twitching slightly.
Now see here. Are you saying that we have been absorbed into your dream?
Whoa, I guess so.
Well, yes. I think you have.
In other words, we've caught the death dream?
Before the mayor could confirm Densetsu's suspicion, Wise exploded with rage.
Ridiculous. Preposterous. Completely unfathomable on every conceivable level. I don't even recall falling asleep.
That's just how the death dream works.
Though polite, the mayor was clearly trying to brush aside the book's remarks.
My remarks are not to be brushed aside, fool.
The mayor twisted his mouth into an embarrassed grimace, then quickly changed the subject to who Densetsu had seen and what they had discussed since coming to the village.
Something there must have caused you to enter my dream. A certain conversation, a specific word, something.
Densetsu and Wise racked their brains, but could find no easy solutions. There were simply too many words to consider, too much random chatter, too many meaningless conversations.
Grimoire Weiss does not engage in meaningless conversations.
Sure, the mere suggestion that Wise chose his words carelessly seemed to sting his pride.
It does not seem to sting my pride, you bloated gasbag of a narrator.
Why you gotta diss me like that, man?
It has demolished it utterly.
I hurt my feelings. Irritated, Wise looked skyward, as if searching for answers in the heavens.
I was doing no such thing.
Yes, bro.
Just leave me alone already.
No. The anger created by his harsh words bled over to Densetsu like a contagion. Did I say that right? Wait, said Densetsu suddenly. Did someone just say contagion? Yes, I believe so. What of it? Well, that villager told us to watch out for contagious words, right? The mayor leaned forward with renewed interest, pushing a startled Wise aside in the process. He must have said something, right? Asked the mayor. Some specific combination of words. What was it? It was about dreaming, or something that dreams, or... Oh, what the hell was it? A sheep? Cried Wise suddenly, blurting out the first thing that popped into his head. The others stared at him for a moment before slowly shaking their heads. After a few more minutes of thought, Densetsu's face suddenly lit up. I remember, he said. Those who dream. That's what he said. I'm sure of it. At this, the mayor produced a thick sheaf of papers from his pocket. He flipped through them a few times before finally nodding his approval at Densetsu. That sounds right, he said, as a stray sheet of paper fluttered to the ground. My notes also mentioned something about that. I bet it was the last thing you heard before you fell asleep. The mayor shook his head, his worn pencil stub tracing lines across a lone piece of paper. For the first month, I've done nothing but study the disease we call the death dream, he said. I mean, I'm the mayor, right? It's my job to protect people from whatever comes along. But I never expected a couple of outsiders to start entering people's dreams. The mayor paused, a grimace crossing his face. I should probably be taking notes or something. Wise immediately fired back. I applaud the force of will it takes to research a disease in your dreams, he said. But perhaps we should bend your efforts to escape this place instead of trying to understand it. The mayor's hand tightened around his pencil, snapping off the tip. I've tried to escape. From the very first moment I realized I was locked inside my own dream, I've been looking for a way out, but I don't think it exists. I mean, this is my dream, right? If there was an exit, I know about it. He paused for a moment, his unfocused eyes staring at nothing. My village was beautiful, he said to no one in particular, and it was filled with the most wonderful people you could ever hope to meet. But once the disease took hold, things changed. It's like someone took a sponge and soaked all the color out of our lives. I just want us to be whole again. I want us to be free. And I won't stop trying until it happens. Densetsu nodded in agreement. Huh? Wait a second. I didn't nod? Look, if we can be of any of help, said Densetsu, just ask. Now hold on. I did not just say that. Silence, cried Weiss. The grimoire looked from Densetsu to the mayor and back again, his face filling with confidence. Grimoire Weiss's face is always confident. Thank you very much. Now see here, Mayor. You told us that nothing can exist in this stream without your knowing of it. But yet you seemed surprised to see us when we first arrived, yes? The mayor slowly raised his head, realization dawning on his face. Oh my God, he said. You're right. You're right. I had no idea you were coming. The human imagination is a limitless engine, said Weiss. And dreams are the fuel. If you can imagine an exit, then it must be so. With your permission, we shall search for it. Search it out. Thank you, said the mayor. I don't know how I can repay you. Payment is not required. We are as eager as you to be done with this place. The mayor suddenly felt as if he could breathe again. He almost forgotten what it was like. Good luck, you two, he called at the departing forms of Densetsu and Weiss. We're all counting on you. As Densetsu slowly faded into the misty forest, the mayor was struck by a sense of deja vu. I saw this man once before, he thought. But where? Densetsu's mood darkened as he trudged through the forest. Hours earlier, when the beauty of the place was still a new thing, he'd been confident they could get in, find an exit, and be home in time for dinner. But the deeper they went, the more the forest closed in around him. The mist made it difficult to see more than a foot in any direction, and moss-covered rocks seemed determined to twist his ankle. Damn. More than once, he'd been forced to steady himself in the rough bark of a tree, and his hands now left small trails of blood on everything he touched. Additionally, Wise was proving to be a spectacularly poor traveling companion. Unhindered by either terrain or physical effort, he spent most of his time urging Densetsu to pick up the pace and grumbling about their slow progress. Finally, after Wise muttered something about legless turtles being more adept at navigating the environment, Densetsu snapped. Okay, Weiss, cram it for a second, would you? You don't have to walk! Densetsu leaned against a tree and tried to stretch the knots from his back. How can this stupid forest be so big? He muttered to himself. The moment the words tumbled from his mouth, cacophony? I don't know how to say that. A cacophony of insects sprang to life. Every imaginable form of buzz, click, and hiss roared out at a volume that rattled his teeth. Densetsu slapped his hands over his ears and screamed to be heard. Weiss! What's going on? Densetsu could see Wise's mouth moving, but he might as well have been shouting in a tornado. The insects screamed, the forest howled, and then, just as Densetsu's ears seemed ready to tear from his head and go running for cover, The sound diminished. Hesitantly, he removed the hand from his left ear and listened to the creatures of the woods. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Sick, sick, sick. Woo 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 woo. Woo 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 woo. Sick, sick, sick. Sick, 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 sick. As the insect symphony dimmed another decibel, Densetsu began to detect patterns in the sound. This isn't random, he thought. It's not just some white noise. It's something else. The insects weren't just calling out. They were asking a question. One with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? By my pages. Is this a riddle? I guess so. I mean, it feels sort of forced, but maybe it's the key to getting out of this place. Then I leave it to you to answer. 1 with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? I have to answer this, huh? Okay. Let's see. The answer is a secret. The answer is a seesaw. How should I know? How should I know? How should I know? Weiss's mouth flew open, but before he could say anything, the world suddenly shifted. Ring, ring, wah! Ring, ring, wah! Shik, shiki! Shik, shiki! When Densetsu came to, he was once again surrounded by the sounds of insects. The cries of the insects were creating words he have heard somewhere before. 1 with it is lacking, 2 with it is ideal, 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? By my pages. Is this okay? It's the same thing again. Okay. Yeah. What do we answer? 1 with it is lacking, 2 with it is ideal, 3 with it is dangerous. Oh, secret, of course. Inwardly, furiously, that Weiss left the task to him, Densetsu sighed and gave the only answer that made sense. It's a secret. Right? The sound of the insects stopped as suddenly as it began. The forest undergrowth parted before Densetsu like a rippling wave, opening a new path. These forest arthropods are making a road for us, said Weiss with glee. Pleased at passing the test, Densetsu moved on with new intensity. The path offered his body relief from the undergrowth, but gave even greater cheer to his mind. As long as they were on a path, their journey had a purpose. I guess the forest has accepted us, huh? Said Densetsu after a bit. Weiss spun around to face his companion. Do not mistake the will of this forest for some happy pet you can suddenly befriend. We have no idea where this path leads. As Weiss finished speaking, the pair turned a corner and found themselves facing a clear forest spring. Smiling, Densetsu picked up a small rock and sent it skipping across the surface of the water. Good heavens, said Weiss. His surprise was understandable. Each time the rock struck the surface of the water, a musical note rang out. When the rock finally stopped moving and sank to the bottom of the spring, the ripples it left behind came together to form words. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? Absurdly easy, barked Weiss. Now answer it. Densetsu grit his teeth and tried not to reach out and strangle his companion. He's right, after all. This one is pretty easy. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? A bird? A letter? Sunlight. I enter through the window, but break no glass. Of course, sunlight. It makes sense. Sunlight! A plume of water suddenly burst from the spring. Sunlight filtered through the trees and reflected off the plume, creating a shimmering rainbow that spanned the entire horizon. In all my years, said Wise softly, I have never seen such a sight. Perhaps I have misunderstood the intentions of this place. Hey, look! Cried Densetsu, awaking Wise from his daze. There's a house or something over there. Glancing in the direction of his friend's extended hand, Wise saw a small cottage nestled among the trees. That's weird, isn't it, Wise? I mean, who would build a house all the way out here? Out here? Sorry with my voice. I'm not! Densetsu walked over and pounded on the door. After a minute of solid banging, the door cracked open and a small man peered out. His body was cloaked from neck to toe in a large black cape, while his face was obscured by mist. Began Densetsu. But before he could get any further, the cloaked man held a hand up and began speaking. I have 4 legs in the morning and 2 at noon, but end the night with 3. What am I? Densetsu tried to ask the cloaked man who he was and what he was doing there, but he simply repeated the question. If we wish to engage this man in conversation, said Wise, it seems we must answer his riddle. Yeah, I suppose, said Densetsu. Well, at least it's an easy one. I have 4 legs in the morning and 2 at noon, but end the night with 3. What am I? A man? A demon? An angel? Okay, let's think about this one. 4 legs in the morning, but humans don't have 4 legs, and 2 at noon. So 4 legs, okay, so meaning like legs and arms. We're asleep. 2 at noon, we're awake. We're with our 2 legs. But end the night with 3. A man? A man. The mist dissolved from the cloaked figure as he spoke a single word. Correct. With that, the man flung his garment aside, revealing his true identity. You're the mayor! Cried Densetsu. The small man slowly shook his head. I am not the mayor you know. Now listen to my words. Long ago, I saw a version of you that was not yourself. Sorry. What's that mean? It will make sense in time. At present, I simply congratulate you on cracking the seal of the death dream. Now you must go to the person at the forest entrance. With that, the man turned on his heel and slammed the door behind him. As Densetsu watched, mist seeped up from the ground and enveloped the cottage, erasing it from existence. When Densetsu and Wise returned to the forest entrance, they found the mayor leaning against a tree. As soon as he caught sight of the duo, he sprang to his feet and scrambled over to them. Good gravy, he cried. You made it! You actually made it back! His left hand grasped Densetsu's and pumped it so fiercely it threatened to dislodge from the socket. Whoa. While his right seized Wise by the cover and swung him through the air. Damn. Gah! By the heavens! Stop shaking me, you fool! We have not even told you if we were successful or not. The mayor smiled broadly and shook his head. I'm just happy you're alive. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. Densetsu withdrew himself from the mayor's eager handshake with a slight smile. We broke the death dream seal, he said. At least, I think we did. The mayor's face beamed as Densetsu filled him in on the details. When the tale was done, the 3 of them lay down on the forest ground and fell asleep. Densetsu cocked his head. Okay, hang on a second. This is crazy. Why would we just lay down and go to sleep? Cease your endless prattle and go to sleep, fool! Fighting against the rules of this place is futility itself. Densetsu and the mayor obediently reclined atop the grassy earth. Have you forgotten? Continued Weiss. It is words that control the death dream. Words that allow us to move from place to place. No matter how unnatural they seem, the words are absolute. Therefore, if the words tell us to sleep, then sleep we shall. And once we do, the story will continue. With that, the trio found their eyes growing heavy, their breath slowing. This is the first time, began the mayor, the first time I have felt tired since I was imprisoned here. His words were cut off by a loud long yawn, and he remembered nothing more. They might have slept for an hour or a year. When they awoke, things had a slightly more real quality to them. The mist felt thicker, the leaves greener. It was clear that they had awakened from their dream. Densetsu shook the mayor's shoulder gently. Good news, he said. I think we made it. Oh, wow, said the mayor in an awed voice. We did. I'm back. He blinked once, and then again, as if not quite believing the sight before him. You two have no idea how much this means. The death dream was spreading through our village, and I wanted to. Well, I thought I could figure out how to stop it, but I guess that wasn't the case. I must have caught the disease and become trapped in my own dream. The mayor started to stand, then collapsed back to the earth. He stared at his legs as if trying to remember how they worked, then glanced at Densetsu and shrugged. Without a word, the young man reached down and pulled the mayor to his feet. Real life may take some getting used to, said the mayor, as a wry smile crossed his lips. You shall relearn in short order, I'm sure, said Weiss. For now, you should return to your home and rest. No, said the mayor, swaying on unsteady feet. No, I can't. Some of the villagers are still trapped in the death dream. I have to save them. The mayor slowly made his way to the divine tree in the center of the village, then bowed his head and prayed silently. This is a holy tree, he explained when the prayer was finished. It's the guardian of our village's history and memories. Superstition will only make our mission harder, muttered Weiss. We should not put our faith in the gods. The mayor shook his head. Not the gods, the words. Legend says that our tree is home to a powerful magic known as a sealed verse. Densetsu and Weiss could not contain their surprise. It seemed a gold that had been found in the most unexpected of places. I say, muttered Weiss, is this certainly a stroke of luck? This is certainly a stroke of luck. As the three of them said their goodbyes, Densetsu mentioned the strange man who had given them the third riddle and the mysterious words he had left them with. I once saw a version of you that was not yourself, muttered the mayor. What in the world does that mean? Lost in thought, he stared into space for a long moment. You know, he said softly, this is going to sound odd, but I had a feeling I'd seen you before too. Densetsu tried to keep a straight face and failed, but the mayor didn't seem to notice. Deja vu, right? Anyway, I figured it's just some kind of illusion created by the death dream. It probably doesn't mean anything. Densetsu gave the mayor a nod and a smile, but inwardly, his thoughts were racing. There's something wrong about the mayor and his words. And what exactly is going on here? That riddle would prove to be the most difficult one of all.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow.
Now I can finally return to a normal life.
I could drink some water.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Obtained a sealed verse. Obtained dark execution magic. Dark execution. Summon magical spikes from the ground to impale enemies. Oh yeah. Charge to increase the number of spikes. Alrighty then.
For a sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
It didn't.
Yes, all a touch too easy if you ask me.
Yeah, a little too easy.
It's almost as if someone was guiding us to this village.
Don't overthink advice.
Well, I don't know. Let me speak to him once
now I
more.
can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Very, very interesting, to say the least. Anyways, let me go ahead and save the game once more. Hey, look, somebody over there. Break this box. Oh, thank you. Oh, these are optional quests, right? Yeah.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Enter this villager's dream.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sorta creeps me out.
It is kind of creepy.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Let's go in. Are we gonna read? Oh boy, we're gonna read more. I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside, I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes. An eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior! I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my rag nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cried. For the love of all the gods, help me! Impossibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy and a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I asked, shaking hands covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Densetsu. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Densetsu extends his hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear that again, I whisper. This were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pooling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There is so much of it. Yes, and more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make good of our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you're weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time, that long-forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. Okay. Oh, I gotta choose. Okay, and proceed. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fear, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know, and sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim end corridors. Proceed east. I squint down the dim corridors, proceed north. I squint down the dim corridors, proceed north. At the end of the path, the waters rise to my waist, exhausting me both physically and spiritually. I pray that this is the way out. I think I should have been paying attention. Oh boy. Eventually, I can stand the sight of the waters no longer, and so turn my eyes upward. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging on the faded plastered wall. Each depicts a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of the highest quality. The styles, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe that these people had lived long ago. One suspect wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It is constructed of a thin, breezy cloth and decorated with a motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt of the most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume even by modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I am struck by a desire to touch it with my own hands. Yet as I extend a single finger to the painting, I am gripped by a most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see it bend and warp into the shape of another finger. Something behind the picture is pointing at me. Is it another prisoner? A fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I cannot let it pass, and so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow behind the painting, and inside I can just make out a body. Whether or not this is a prisoner, there would be no rescue. The poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of the fabric has survived, but it features the same delicate designs that were depicted in the portrait. I have been admiring a row of corpses, blocked from view by portraits of each victim at their pinnacle. Enough shielding my eyes. I paddle forward through the water. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed south. I squint down the dim corridors, proceed west. At the end of the path, a row of heavy wooden casks lie on their sides in a dark chamber. Doubtless, they are filled with wine. My thirst roars to life. I cannot remember the last time my parched throat had relief. I scramble to the first cask and pull frantically at the cork. The theft of a few cups means nothing. I tell myself, the casks will be ruined by the flood regardless. Finally, the cork surrenders to my attack, and thick red liquid bursts forth from the hole. This is no wine. It is blood, still warm from the body. Whether animal or something else, I cannot say. The foul liquid soon mixes with the rising floodwaters, creating a warmth that laps against my thighs. By all the gods, are the rest of these casks filled with blood as well? I lack the courage to confirm my suspicion. Disgust quickly becomes fear as I turn to flee. But my weakened legs betray me, sending me toppling over into the red ocean below. The smell of death is everywhere. It threatens to consume me. I must escape this hell. Crawling on all fours like an animal, holding back screams lest any foulness enter my mouth. I lurch forward through the red waters and out of the room to freedom. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed south. The water has risen to my chin and now laps greedily at my mouth and nose. Oh boy. You dumb bastard! Shouts Densetsu. He surely desires to say more, but the rest of his insult is cut short by the rising water. Grimoire Weiss, wet and tattered, floats on the water's surface. It is already too late for him. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. Damn, do I have to do this again? No! Okay, so first I go north, then I gotta go east. I know that for sure. Let's try north again. Go east. At the end of the path. Yeah, I read this one. And then I gotta go north. Against all hope, we can make it to the front door. Break it down! Someone cries. And so I gave myself to the effort. In tandem with Densetsu and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives away, and we find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding. But to the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cried as tears joined the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters and sheepishly trying to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asked Weiss. Then you are a woman, madame. I am. I proffer the two a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Densetsu is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, proving the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shattered with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke way for good. As we watch in awe, unaccountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades. Oh boy. Hey.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
Oh boy, yeah, hopefully.
I hear that.
Yeah. Oh boy, you got anything else?
Thank you so much for saving me.
No problem.
I never want to have a dream like that again.
Oh no, it was terrible, especially having to repeat that many times. Anyways, let's go. Actually, no. We need to save the game. All right, let's go to the final guy here.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
Okay, enter the villager's dream.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Vice.
I thought so too.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
Okay. Let's be off. I don't know what's gonna happen. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Wise and Densetsu had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Vice?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage,
he said. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Densetsu nodded and wiped the seed off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if to find those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Densetsu lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us, or what? The complaining had already begun. Weiss turned around, tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke? He said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it in this way might make it easier for you to bear. Densetsu glanced at Weiss's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Densetsu's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. We are definitely getting closer, said Weiss in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Densetsu lifted his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. Water, he cried. It's water! Water? Asked Weiss. Preposterous. I don't see any water. Over there, just ahead of us. Look, the sun is reflecting off it. Without waiting for a response, Densetsu sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Densetsu closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him and chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert desert traveler has spoken of such things. Densetsu shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly, he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide open, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is! I just missed it! Look, it's right there! Densetsu sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Densetsu came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Densetsu and struck him in the face with his cover. It's funny. Enough, you blithering idiot! Stop this at once! There is no water here. Densetsu's place. Face clouded. My reading is going bad. There isn't. There isn't? There is not. And perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the City of Art. Densetsu looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge!" cried Densetsu, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. "I've never seen anything so big!" Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky. But that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" said Densetsu. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles were staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Densetsu and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Densetsu uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. "Finally, I was getting tired of modern art." The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Densetsu moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. "Only one form is real. The others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies." With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that," said Densetsu. "They're alive." The triplets bowed low before Densetsu. "Please," said Alpha, "you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real." "Stop lying," said Beta. He turned to Densetsu and threw his hands in the air. "Alpha's a fake. You know, I'm the real one." "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here." The respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Weiss. Densetsu furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. The real one, I believe it's Alpha because Gamma never said that Alpha is not the real one. It's Alpha. The real one is Alpha. The eyes of the statue shone with an eerie light. The light grew stronger and stronger until Densetsu and Weiss were forced to turn away.
It would seem we failed.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'd best act more carefully next time.
Ow.
This is the worst job ever.
Damn. Alright, let's try Beta. The real one is Beta. Though Densetsu's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss in the dry tones of a lecturer, Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. What makes Alpha and Beta liars? That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with two statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Weiss finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable Densetsu pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been in this city before? The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Densetsu, just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease that struck Densetsu during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too.
Yep.
Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes.
Yes, if the
Hopefully.
mayor's assumption was correct.
Hopefully.
I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Alright. I feel like I've been reading a visual novel. Anyways, before I talk to the mayor, I'm just gonna go ahead and save the game. Alright, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Here, I have something for you.
Yeah. Obtain the one-handed sword, Faith.
Wow, this looks valuable. I can really have it?
Huh.
Of course.
Yeah.
Apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you again.
For everything. I got it. I'm
I
sorry.
simply cannot bear another of these infernal conversations. Let us save it for another time.
Yes, another time. Let's go. Talk. Let's talk. Let's just keep talking. Ah, hello again. You know, I've been trying to figure out a way to thank you for saving me, and I think I've got it. We're going to put up a statue of you. It will be 10 feet high and made of pure gold. Oh, and I know you don't want a horse, but I think we'll put you on one anyway. Horses just make people look more heroic, you know? How's that? You don't want a statue? Oh, I thought you'd really enjoy it. Regardless, thanks for your tireless efforts. Our village is at peace once more, and at peace. That's a little agriculture joke right there. Okay. Anyway, I've been thinking about other things besides bad jokes and statues. I've also decided that we need to start holding the village festival again. We used to have it every year, but the last mayor thought it was old-fashioned or something and he killed it. But since I'm the mayor, I can start it up again. That's not abusing my power or anything, is it? What's that? You want to hear about the festival? Well, the official name is the Feast of the 3 Days. We call it that because everyone sits around a huge table and eats for 3 days straight. No sleeping allowed. Oh, and we hold it on the foggiest days of the year, so it's hard to tell what you're eating. Some of the dishes are delicious, but some are really rare and, well, there's some weird stuff in them. Let's leave it at that. Oh boy, oh god. Anyway, you'd be pretty surprised what you can eat when you haven't slept for a couple of days. I'll make sure that a room is prepared for you so you can be the guest of what? You can't come? You have to wash your hair? Oh, alright. Well, I guess that's understandable. What with the adventuring and all? Truthfully, I think this town needs more group bonding activities like that. Yeah, okay. It'll help us get to know each other and also promote unity in times of crisis and so forth. Wise coughed loudly. How much longer must we bear the insufferable flapping of this fool's gums? He whispered to Densetsu. Let him talk. He just woke up. He probably has a lot he wants to say. Wise sighed. This must be what Popola meant by bright and talkative. Alright, so anything else?
I simply cannot bear it.
Okay, that's it. Alright. I think we're fully done now. Fully done. Save the game.
So how was the village?
Oh yeah, that's right. Kinda didn't.
Oh, it was truly magnificent. There are no words. Really.
That was a get it joke, no words.
Neat.
Let's get back to Popola. She'll probably want to know what's going on in there.
Yeah. Alright. Let's go back. Hey Popola, I'm back.
Death dream certainly is a strange illness.
It is.
Yeah, it was something all right.
Lots of reading.
Even I, with my natural love for words, have no desire to visit that place ever again.
You guys did well. You've been making a lot of long trips lately. Are you sure you're not pushing yourself too hard?
I'm okay. I can't just sit around all day while Yona's sick after all.
Yeah.
If you say so.
So, anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose there is one thing I could use a hand with. Have you heard about our plans to repair the canal? The work probably won't happen for a while, but once it's done, we can use the canal for trade and travel and all kinds of useful things.
Okay.
Unfortunately, however, we're a bit behind schedule at the moment.
Oh.
If you're willing to help out, I'd really appreciate it.
No problem. What do you need?
Great. So, the man I originally asked to help on this project hasn't shown up for work in a few days.
Oh, damn.
I'm starting to get a little worried. So, maybe you can head over to Seafront and check up on him? I'll mark the location of his house on your map. He always carries a red bag over his shoulder, so he should be easy enough to find.
Got it.
Got it. All right.
A canal, is it? Fascinating. If we had a ferry, we could put these days of endlessly running about behind us.
Don't you just float everywhere anyway?
Do you think I am borne aloft by the winds, lad? It takes stamina to maintain this height.
Oh, really?
Nah.
You could at least try to hide the utter dismay, you know.
Well, I guess that's what we need to do. So we got to go all the way down to the Southern Plains. But anyways, everybody, that is going to be it for now. That was a lot of reading. That was a lot of reading. I felt like I was reading a visual novel. A short chapter of a visual novel or something like that. But anyways, stay tuned for more of NieR Replicant coming soon. So thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, smash like, subscribe, and smash the bell button below. I lost my voicing skills, reading skills. I don't know what's wrong with me. Smash the bell button and check the links down below if you want to support me directly, or just hit the join button. And I'll see you later in the next video. Peace.